Hello, this is Coach Tim Campbell, and I'm your host for the Self-Made as a Myth, Make a Difference Together show, where we are talking with successful business owners about the journeys to building their business. And because we know that success in business is not something that we can do on our own, we're taking some time to recognize the folks who have helped us to excel. Today, I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from California with us today. My guest is a self-taught and driven businessman, having not attended a university and growing up just with his mom. So we'll have him tell us a little bit more about that. And in his downtime, he enjoys hikes with his wife and while they're walking the dogs. And he's most proud to be married to the woman whose leadership skills and love has shaped his family. And we're going to ask him to explain that here in a minute, because that is just sounds awesome. It's my pleasure to welcome Fernando to the show today. Hello, Fernando.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. Hey, I am doing well. Thanks for asking. And I'm excited to hear a little bit more about your story and share with our audience. So let's start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live, and about your family and hobbies.
Sure. So my name's Fernando Leon. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing for a managed security service provider. We're responsible for keeping our clients' networks secure and operating 24/7. So we're responding to all kinds of alerts and remediating any type of network issues. So that's what my professional side is. On the personal side, well, what did you want to have me touch on there, Tim?
Where were you born? Where do you live
Oh,
now? And tell us about your family.
well, born in San Jose, California. Been here for 58 years, so haven't left. But we love it. We love Northern California. It's a wonderful place to live and raise a family. I've been married to my wife for the past 20 plus years, and we built, well, we've obviously we have a great relationship. She is a remarkable woman. And like I said in the questionnaire, she has shaped my life. She is my inspiration, as is my daughter. They are the heartbeat of the family. I'm just in the background, really. I just say I'm an employee in the Leon family. Right? I'm just here, and I'm a producer is what I really am, because they are the ones that are really directing and providing. My wife is the financial planner. Is an amazing investor. She's been amazing with our finances. She's an overall amazing person. She came from Mexico, right? I don't want to say the amount of years ago, because she hates it when I mention her age, but she's been here a little while. But she is just a remarkable person. Her life story is inspirational in itself, because she came here when she was just 7 years old, and she made something of herself. She is just so amazing. And her and I raised a young lady now, she's just turned 21 a few months back, and she's off to college. But those two, man, they're like two peas in a pod, because they are so similar. And I just sit back and watch them and go, man, you guys are just phenomenal people.
Awesome. What's their names?
Araceli is my wife's name, and Gia is our daughter's name.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned that you like to go on hikes. So where's your favorite place to hike?
So we have a spot we go every weekend. It's called Quicksilver. It's about 5 miles from here. It's a nice 5 mile hike. We see a lot of wildlife, from deers, wild turkeys. My wife's come across a bobcat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she got a little spooked on that, but she's and obviously all the birds and all that. Woodpeckers. We see a lot of woodpeckers out there, but it's just amazing wildlife that you see out there. So
So Fernando, I'm sure, just because of the way that you just talked about your family, that I've got to assume there's a funny story that your family likes to tell about you. Is there one that you'd be willing to share with us today?
Um, well, they just say, well, I do love to tell jokes.
Uh-huh.
I'm a big joker at family events. I'm not really one that loves to have all the attention on me. But when there's a little downtime and people are getting a little, the family's looking for a good laugh, I love to tell a great joke. And I have lots of them, but a lot of them would say they're inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I do love to tell jokes, and that's probably one of the things my family loves to see. Even though they could be a little bit inappropriate, they love to see that side of me, because it brings joy to me to make others laugh. It's a great time. And my dad was like that. My dad was him and I are very much alike when it came to telling stories and jokes and things like that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I know you're actually got your hand in a few different businesses. So tell us how the business came about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Well, back in 2001, I'm sure a lot of your listeners can relate that it was just an awful time, right? 2001 was the collapse of the dot-com era, and then 9/11 occurred. I had just started at Single Point of Contact, and we were barely staying afloat in June. And to take a few steps back, the CEO of Single Point of Contact, him and I had worked at a startup, and he knew me because of, I don't know, I guess he just liked my personality, and he thought, hey, come and work for me. You got a great personality for sales. I know you're part of the production team, et cetera, and all that. He goes, come and do sales for me. I think you could do well. And that's when I first got into sales. And he knew my background. He knew I didn't have an education. He knew that but he knew I was a go-getter. I was the first one in the office, last one to go. I was just always hustling. So he liked that. And I had no idea he had his own side hustle. Back then, the side hustle wasn't really a term for back in 2001. So I came to work for him, and things were, as right before 9/11, we started to hit a little momentum, and then boom, the wind from our sails was just taken out because of 9/11. And we struggled to get some additional momentum, but we've built a very solid business out here, and we've been very blessed. Let's just say, yeah, it's been a very very good year for us. So we're pretty happy.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the company. Just share the name again, and what do you guys do? How do you help people?
So Single Point of Contact is primarily a managed security service provider, but we also take on all of the help desk support, right? So organizations either rely on full-time IT people, or they outsource the IT responsibilities. And there's a slew of things that we're responsible for, right? We ensure that we implement strategies so they don't have problems, right? We want to reduce any type of network security issues, any network issues, computer problems. We implement tools so our clients don't have problems. But when they do, they call us, we resolve the issues. So that's primarily the business model. We're here to implement a solution so they can stay focused on their business. Let us take care of the network and all the security.
Wonderful. And do you guys serve clients globally, nationally, regionally? What's your footprint?
We do. We provide a 24/7 model. So we get clients from all over the world. They rely on us to deliver that platform to them, because they either don't have the bandwidth or the skill set internally. So they rely on us or hire us to fill those gaps, to fill what areas they're lacking expertise in.
Wonderful. Fernando, share a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, even though maybe you didn't think you could. And the impact that that person had on you.
Sure. You know, my aunt is the first person that comes to mind because she always at family events, she's one of my favorite aunts. She would always tell me, Fernando, you're so smart. And I would just look at her and go, I'm barely going to graduate from high school. I don't think you really know what you're talking about. That's what I'm thinking, right? But I love my aunt. I would just smile and I'd say, thank you, Tia. I really appreciate that. She would always give me words of encouragement. And, you know, one thing she did, she wouldn't say it to my brother and she wouldn't say it to my other cousins, which was kind of funny. I'm just like, ooh, what does she really see? I don't know. She must have seen something because I didn't see it. But you know, and this carried on to even when I went to junior college. I flunked out the first semester. It was just school wasn't for me.
Right.
I was just too busy. I'll tell you exactly what it was. Girls.
And telling jokes.
Yeah, and telling jokes. Well, I was just the guy who always wanted to have fun. It was just, that was just part of my personality. And for some reason, people would gravitate to me. They're like, okay, Fernando's the fun guy. Let's go have a great time. We're going to hang out with him. We're going to have a great time. And I, you know, I still have relationships with my buddies from high school, and I graduated from high school 40 years ago. So wow. We have great relationships with people that are just incredible, and they're doing incredible things in the world today. So very happy to have that circle of friends that I currently have.
Wonderful. What's you've been in, again, business for quite a while, and different experiences. What would you say is your biggest learning as a business owner?
Well, this took me a while because the first 10 years at Single Point of Contact, the method of generating business was cold calling. And I had an assistant who would send out mailers and would send out, we would spam, you know, organizations. And then they had me hire a group of cold callers that I managed and trained, and we would create scripts and call into specific regions of California and specific industries. So we had to create specific what we call sales processes, and it worked out. I mean, I look back to the amount of meetings we would create each year, and it was decent. It wasn't like, oh my God, we're only getting 10 meetings a year. No, we probably booked anywhere between, what is it, 2, 3, 4, 60 to, I don't know, 80 meetings a year, and which is decent. That's nothing earth shattering.
Right.
And then during this whole process of building a business, my boss is like always ahead of the curve. The guy is he's just a pure genius. And he would tell me, Fernando, you really need to look into PPC, SEO, content creation, marketing, online marketing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that was like 12, 14 years ago. And I would just look at him and I go, yeah, I'll be honest. It was out of my comfort zone, right? Yeah. Something, I just wasn't comfortable looking into it. I just felt like, oh, I don't think I have the intelligence level to understand how to build these campaigns, how to manage them, how to strategize for this type of effort. And because I was so used to like, oh, making cold calls, and cold calling is scary to people. Oh God, it fueled me. Really, I looked at nose like, oh my God, that's like you're refilling my gas tank. I'm like, I'm ready to go. I don't, you know, even though I don't like nose, I was just very determined to get that meeting, get in front of a CEO, get in front of a CFO. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And even though
you have that winning mentality. So to you, a no is just one step closer to the next yes, right?
Exactly. I never let it discourage me. And it never felt like, oh, these people are much more intelligent than me. They're at a different level of education. I've never been afraid of that.
Mm.
But when my boss said, well, you should look into online marketing, I was like, ooh, I got a little scared there.
Yeah.
But thank goodness I attended a webinar, and they were just talking about PPC and the strategy behind it. And I'm like, oh gosh, this looks easy. I didn't know this could be so powerful, right? I was so stunned that it would be this easy to generate new business. And I tell you, the first year, what was it? Close to 300 meetings the first year.
Oh,
in
wow.
PPC. Yeah, I know it blew my whole. It blew my my numbers with the cold calling.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised how much business or how many meetings were scheduled because of PPC, and it just changed everything. And I'm going to have to admit that marketing is the only way to go if you want to build a sustainable business. You cannot build a business without a smart marketing campaign. And there's a lot of components to marketing, and it just depends on which direction you want to take, but it's very achievable. I'm a big dummy and I did it. I know anybody can do it. If I can do it, anyone out there can do it.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you sharing that for the audience. Hey, we know that business success doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us about one of your biggest challenges during the years, and maybe a fellow business owner who came alongside you and helped you through it.
I'd say one of the biggest challenges has been management of people, right?
Yeah.
Internally, keeping them motivated, saying the right things,
Sure.
dealing with multiple personalities. And this is where I lean on my boss, our CEO, who is he has such a high EQ. He knows how to handle different personalities. And him and I, we're very close in age. We're same generation. And I'm very, very, how would you say? I'm very direct and candid.
Uh-huh.
And he is more of a softie, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If somebody so it was for me, it was challenging to manage people that were a bit delicate for some reason, right? Because we're very, I grew up in this, I was born in 65. In the 70s, my mom, I could have gone missing for 3 days and my mom would have known, right? They would have been like, okay, he's gone. Right. She's too busy, right? It's like, but we took care of ourselves back then. And it just made us very thick skinned. It made us very, it toughened us up.
Sure.
And I see today's generation and they're a little soft. It's and for some reason, my boss knows how to deal with them. He's just like, okay, I know how to deal with these kind of people. He's really good at it. So I must have a low EQ.
It makes me, so we use DISC, the DISC assessment when we're working with our clients. And so what you're describing for yourself sounds like you're a high D, which is, all about, winning and, doing whatever it takes to win, and facts and figures and not this, soft stuff and touchy feely stuff. Right? And that is absolutely needed, right? In terms of a business needs that personality. And right, it sounds like your boss is probably more, more of an I or an S, which is in tune with people's feelings and understanding emotions and being able to read the room. Right?
Yes.
And so the reason I'm sharing that is companies need these different qualities, but not one person doesn't have all of the qualities. So, we bring others around us who offset our strengths so that, together as a team, we're able to do all the things that are needed. And And once we realize that, right, just like you've said, well, once you realize, like, oh, well, they're going to be more aware of this situation, so I'm going to ask them for advice, right? I love
Yes,
it.
yeah, my boss and I, we balance each other out pretty well. So
That's fantastic. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit just for fun. If I was to ask you to pick three people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there uh, in terms of helping the business's growth, who are those three people and how they help you?
well, I heavily rely on our CEO when it comes to closing big deals, because during these discussions, questions can get very technical at times.
Mm-hmm.
And he has always had my back. He's always been there to support me, and he's been instrumental in closing some very large deals. I mean, he helped me close Google. We closed one of the largest real estate developers in the world.
Wow.
He helped me close that. I mean, we've closed some very large opportunities together, and I don't think I could have done it without him, because he's that good. Even though he's super technical, and let me tell you, he will geek out on you. One of the most brilliant guys you will ever meet when it comes to building networks and just troubleshooting problems from a technical side. But he has another side of him that is also, he's a joker. He loves to entertain. He's got one of the most sparkling personalities you will ever meet, and you don't see that. He's
Right.
like a unicorn, because yeah, you don't see that as somebody who's
Right.
technical, because they're very introverted, and he's
Sure.
far from being an introvert.
Yeah, I love it. And
So
what's his name?
Gregory,
All right.
yeah,
Who's
second person.
yeah.
So you said to mention
Yeah. Who's number two?
person number two is Miriam Diaz, Salim. She is instrumental in managing dispatch. She's also managing our remote teams who can be in other parts of the United States, because a lot of our guys work remotely.
Sure.
Some of our guys work in Spain and other parts of the world,
Yeah.
and she creates this chemistry among them, right? And she's really at the front line, ensuring our clients are happy.
Mm.
And if there's a fire, she knows how to put it out. She knows what team member to assign. She does a really good job managing people, and we're very grateful for her being on the team, because without her, ooh gosh, I don't even want to think about it. And the third person, our CFO, Geeta. Geeta make sure that our finances are always in great shape. She's on top of her business, and we don't hear from her much, because she solves problems. She's the
Yeah.
one solving a lot of our problems.
Yeah.
And but when we need to discuss a contract, and she's always there. She's got our back, and I really appreciate her. She's an amazing woman.
Fantastic. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit, Fernando. As you think about the next 3 to 5 years, what are the biggest challenges that you see that you're going to face in terms of achieving your goals, and who are the types of people you're going to need to help you resolve those challenges?
So our right now, because of our business model, we work with a specific industry, and within that industry, we saw a huge gap, and we decided, okay, if we're going to start a business that's going to fill that gap, we need to do the following. And that is one of my biggest challenges right now, is getting this online business going, because this business is going to help the IT service industry with a lot of areas they struggle in. We see a lot of struggles within the IT service industry, and we see an opportunity to fill that gap. And right now, that's my biggest challenge right now, and that's in 4 or 5 years, is to get to that point where we can just exit. That's our exit plan. 5 years from now, we're like, hey, we can sell this business and sail off into the sunset, because this is a huge business opportunity for us. And I already have my hands full with single point of contact, but I'm working weekends, after hours, to get this business going. And we're pretty excited about it, because look, money's great, but I'm going to be able to help others, right? And that is something that my mom taught me. I forgot to mention that, is my mom, who is also one of my inspirational figures. As a single mom, she had it really rough, but she was helping so many people. When she couldn't rub two pennies together. And that taught my brother and I a very valuable lesson, right? To volunteer, to help others, to be kind. If you can't find a kind person, be a kind person, right? So she taught us a lot of valuable lessons in life and morals and principles. So yeah, and this is probably one of the reasons we developed this business model, because we see a lot of CEOs struggle, and they are amazing people who keep the networks going, who keep these businesses, their clients, operating their business. Because let me tell you, without IT, you can have all the sexy hardware and software in place. If it's not configured correctly by the IT guys, and it's just a pile of junk.
So I'm going to ask you another question here, but beforehand, what's your mom's name?
Clara.
Fantastic.
Clara.
So, Fernando, are you far enough along on this new business venture to be able to share with the audience what it's all about?
Well, sure. It's called the MSP Corner, and we do have a live group on Facebook that we discuss a lot of topics, such as what you should be doing with SEO, or your marketing strategies. We're mainly discussing marketing strategies, but I know these guys, these are all CEOs, very techie people. They love to hear about new technology that's coming out. So we have webinars on technology that's going to help them either increase their revenue or get their clients, have security, a tight security in place. So there's various topics that we're discussing, but mainly it's going to be about selling value, because these guys, they talk about tech services, and they got to focus more on selling value instead of tech support, because clients don't want to hear about tech support. They want to hear about how you're going to solve their problems, how you're going to prevent problems. And that's the key to winning business. So, but yeah, the MSP Corner is probably another month, 2 months out from going live. I feel like, we have a team that we're working with. They're web developers, and God bless them. They're great people. But it's like we take a few steps forward, and then we have a meeting. We're like, oh my goodness, we're taking a few steps back.
Yes.
Because of the challenges and development and workflows and processes. And let me tell you, building a business, and especially an online business, it's challenging. It's challenging.
That 2 steps forward, kind of 1 step back idea. It reminds me, my mindset coach painted this picture for me. Like, every time I've lamented about my own journey, he's like, well, Tim, how do professionals climb a mountain? Do they go straight up? Like, well, no, of course not. Right? They go back and forth. And why do they go back and forth? It's because that's the only way to get to the top. So he uses that analogy to say, hey, Tim, maybe you're not ready to go straight up, right? Maybe you have to veer off to the right, because there's some learning and some experience over there, right, to prepare you to go up to the next level. And I really like that visual of, so everything that happens is for a reason, right? And it's for our own growth and development to prepare us for the next stage. So instead of it being 2 steps back, right, it's a learning and growing experience.
Yeah, I like that. I like that that analogy. It's so true, because I see a lot of this. I see a lot of colleagues get discouraged because they had a bad experience, and and that's part of the conversations we're having on in the MSP Corner group, is like, just because you failed doesn't mean that you're going, it's not a life sentence.
Yes.
It's not
Yes.
forever. You
Yes.
have to keep trying,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And I can never say it enough. Marketing can change your life, can change your business, it can
Mhm.
change the trajectory of your organization. Because when
Yes.
you plan something and you know your market so well and you've done the research, you need to determine a marketing strategy, because it's the only way your business is going to grow.
Yeah. I've heard this analogy before of fail forward.
Yeah.
So as long
Okay.
as you're failing forward, then right, it's all good. It's just part of the
Yep.
journey. So,
Yep. Yep.
hey, Fernando, last question here. Jim Rohn, awesome business guru. One of his quotes is that we become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So as you think about that quote, and specifically for business owners who are listening to this podcast, what advice would you have for those folks who are trying to do it on their own?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say, and this is what I tell my daughter, you're going to fail, and you're going to fall down, and the only person that's going to pick you up is yourself. And I sometimes have to take my own advice, because yeah, I have setbacks, right? Even with this online business, I have setbacks, and in the back of my head, I can hear a little doubt creeping in, just a little, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you cannot allow doubt or even questioning your journey, because if you have thought what if you have thought things out well, and you've come up with a strategy and it's sound, and you've let me tell you, I had to speak with other marketing experts about this before I even took this journey, because
Sure.
you got to get feedback from others. You just can't dive into something without talking to your mentors, talking to people that are in this industry, because it might be something new for you, and you want to get feedback from people that have been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, because I even though I didn't major in marketing, I didn't major in business administration or technology or anything like that. I have a lot of CEOs and executives that majored in marketing come talk to me about,
Yeah.
okay, Fernando, this is what we want to do with our marketing strategy. I'm like, okay, I thought you learned this in school, but apparently not.
No.
Just because you don't have a degree, it don't mean jack.
No.
You can learn a lot of this by reading, by studying, by researching, and don't get hung up on education. This is all my drive and inspiration is inside of me,
Yeah.
right? And I look to others for inspiration, such as my wife and my daughter, but really, this is my own drive, and it's a goal. It's my own goal. I've set a goal up, and I intend to meet it. So
I like that idea. So everything is changing so fast that even the education that we got 5 years ago is
yeah,
in some cases is obsolete because
yeah,
technology's
yeah,
changed so fast, right?
yeah.
A
You're right.
couple of things you said that really resonated with me is first of all, having that own internal drive and goal, but then collect information from others and rely on others and learn as much as you can from people who have been there before, because right, it's what's the point of trying to do it on your own when there's all these experts around us that are more than willing to share some tips and advice with us.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think that also people get stuck with this. This is really important, is focus on what you do well. You have a skill set, right? Stick to your skill set. If you want to build a website, don't go learning how to build a website. Hire somebody.
Yes.
Your skill set is specific to what you can do best. I'm great at presenting. I'm great at marketing strategy, but I suck at developing websites and all that, all the behind the scenes type of technology.
Sure.
No, don't waste your time trying to learn new things. Focus on focus on your strengths.
Yes.
Delegate. People don't do a great job delegating.
Yes. Yeah. I have. So there's an exercise that I have our clients do when they're wrestling with letting go. Right? So I ask them, okay, what's the revenue? How much revenue is your business, or what's your top line sales, and whatever that is. They tell me. I said, then divide that by 2,000 hours, which is an average of 50 weeks a year,
Yeah.
50 hours a week, to get their hourly wage, right? So
Yeah.
if it's $1 million company, your hourly wage is $500. So those jobs that you're doing, those tasks that you're doing, are they worth $500 an hour? No. Great.
Yeah.
Then delegate it to somebody
Yeah.
lower of you in the organization, so you're freeing yourself up to do the strategy and the planning and and taking care of the team.
Exactly. That's a great visual, because they don't really think of it that way. And you just laying it out like that, that's a great visual. Yeah. Yeah.
Because as owners, we think, hey, my time's free, but it's not, because there's opportunity costs, right?
Yeah.
If I do that $25 an hour job, that means I can't do the $200 an hour job because I ran out of time. Right?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, Fernando, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people that have helped you along in your journey. If they were all here on the show today, what would you want to say to them?
Well, I would first want to say, thanks to my mom, right? I'm the person I am because of her. I would say thanks to my dad, even though early on in life he wasn't around us, but later on he came back and he redeemed himself. But I get a lot of his fearlessness, a lot of the personality side of being a jokester, being a storyteller, having that confidence, right? My dad was a very confident man, and he was a very kind man. But those two people were obviously, they were instrumental in shaping who I am. But then I know there's levels to this game, right? They say there's levels.
Yes.
And my wife, God bless her, elevated me to a whole nother level. And without her, I wouldn't be who I am today. She's the driving force. I would love to say, oh, I am who I am because of me. No, no. I credit her. She's an incredible human being who has taught me a lot, even though I am older than her and have been around longer. She has taught me so much.
That's awesome.
And my daughter, those that's 4 people, but those 2 have taught me so much about being a better human, being a better, just being an overall better person, because this is, we touch so many lives, right? And especially me, I talk to dozens of people every week, and you touch somebody every week, and it's like, okay, you're making an impact. And how do you make an impact? So, and for the 5th person, I would say, my sister. I love my sister. She's much younger than me, but she brings me down to earth sometimes, right? She's the one who can, share, be very honest with me.
Yeah.
So I credit her with that, because she's a remarkable person. She's on an incredible journey herself, and she's raised 2 daughters on her own, right? And she's done a phenomenal job with these 2 young ladies who are also on a remarkable journey. So yeah,
Awesome.
I got some great people around me.
Wonderful. Well, Fernando, it was a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, you got it. You got it. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. For everyone who tuned in, thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show with your host, Coach Tim Camsell. Be sure to help us spread the movement by liking the show and posting about it on your social media. And to join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Make sure to pay it forward, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.